I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will move into our consensus agenda.
So I move we approve the vouchers for last month. We've got accounts payable vouchers of $1,112,508.41. 2 payrolls, which total $568,085.62 minus a few voids. Makes a grand total expenditures of $1,678,719.33. Along with that, I move we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Any patrons' comments for the evening? If not, we will move on to personnel.
All right, I'd like to recommend the approval of the first two here, resignation of Brandon Young as junior class sponsor and Tori Kistler as junior class sponsor.
So, go ahead.
I move we approve the resignation of the junior class sponsors.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Recommend the approval of Tennille Harms and Megan Atkinson to replace the ones that just resigned that. You'll also see Tennille Harms as the junior high robotics sponsor as well.
I move to approve both of those.
Second.
It's been moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, keeping notes here. I recommend the approval of Paul Williams as the high school robotics sponsor and Paul Harms as the robotics team volunteer.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
To recommend the approval of Dominic Smith as a junior high volunteer football coach and Ben Weymouth as a volunteer girls golf coach.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
All right, recommend the approval of the resignation of Nick Kindig as the high school business teacher, boys JV basketball coach, and girls golf coach. Also recommend the approval of the resignation of Morgan Hall as the high school health and PE teacher and 8th grade girls volleyball coach.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion?
Yes. We have the, do we have, has Jason decided anything about Nick Kinsley's position as far as, because I know his golf position has been covered, but not necessarily JV basketball.
Yes, so he is in the process as of last Friday. He has met with, I want to say 4 different individuals. I don't know that he's landed on that. Tom and I actually just spoke about that today. And we would like to get some of that information from him. I know he met with a candidate last Monday and had another one soon that he was going to meet with, so I don't know when that is, but yeah.
All right, I'm good with that. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, we actually just talked about that today, and he has junior league tomorrow, so we'll kind of see where we're at on that.
Cool.
It's a good question.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I'd like to recommend the approval of Olivia Weymouth as the high school social studies teacher. That will take the place of Kennedy Kroll. Kennedy Kroll moving to PE. So I would like to make that recommendation. I'd also like to make the recommendation of Joel Grindle as a high school business teacher to take Nick Kindig's position that you just asked about, and Hannah Baker as a 5th grade elementary teacher.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? And you meant to include, did you say Olivia as a varsity golf coach?
Yeah, yes.
You did not say that.
I did not say that. So yes, I would recommend that she is the varsity golf coach. She did play college golf at IU Kokomo. And just because she's new to teaching and young, her father obviously has coached at Plymouth for a long, long time, which is the approval of the volunteers, so he's going to assist us.
That's great.
I'll amend my motion accordingly.
Okay. Any
Sorry about
other,
that, thank you, good catch.
any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Did we miss the first resignation?
We actually did that last. We actually did that last board meeting
Okay.
under other,
Okay.
because that had just come in, and we wanted to make sure that that was really clean for her and us to post. So, yes. I'd like to recommend the approval of Janelle Neidig. She does go by Janelle. I know Kimmy was on her application, but she goes by Janelle as the corporation nurse. And I'd like to make the recommendation of Allison Fishball as an elementary instructional assistant, both of which are classified.
And we approve those hires.
It's moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
And last but not least, in the personnel, I'd like to recommend the approval of the independent contract agreement with Rochelle Mabey as the school psychologist for evaluation services for the corporation.
I move we approve.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. On to other business.
The first two here are something we adopt every year. So I recommend the approval of the readoption of policy 6250, which is required ADM counts for the purpose of state funding and verification of residency. And readopt policy 3220-01, which is the teacher appreciation grant, which nothing has changed on that. That's simply us having a policy that when we receive that money within 20 days, we will make sure that that gets to teachers, and we have committed to and will continue to commit to making sure that that goes straight to teachers.
I move we approve both of those policies.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I'd like to recommend the approval of the 24-25 high school fundraisers. And while we'll go ahead and lump these, the next one, I guess, the NESIC dairy and food procurement contract with Prairie Farms.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion?
Yes. So at what point does Triton Student Life Foundation replace, and are we going to allow first need groups to apply for grants from that foundation?
Yeah, I mean, I think based on our last meeting, we know that can be a little tricky, right? Of just knowing what really falls under that student life piece. We have said that athletics obviously is kind of self-funding, so we're going to keep that as definitely segmented. But I think that's a really good question for the committee.
I think a lot of these,
Mr. Boyer.
yes, totals, like, I added up 35,500,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So we can approve these, but I think we need to encourage Student Life Foundation to also take a look at these. and
Consider
see if
doing partial or
Something.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think that's up to the board, and I want to make sure that I, as an ex officio member, don't necessarily direct that, but I think that's a great recommendation to consider.
I think the need for funding will exceed the available funds from
Oh,
student life.
Probably will. That's why there's going to be an application process, but I also think that in part, we kind of advertised Student Life Foundation as,
Get rid of
Yeah,
that.
helping get rid of
some
stuff.
those, sure.
And most of these are
High school.
high school.
And a lot of them were athletic.
You have a lot of performing arts and FFA and
So I think the foundation was very quick to say the athletic piece would be out, right? But in the end, I think it begs the question of the other ones that
you're right.
that are student life to
Yeah.
say, is that something that we're committed to getting up for? Absolutely.
we're going up for FFA for the toy tractors. That isn't just our chapter, that's like the whole,
Sure.
they get a special tractor for the county, so.
Good.
Yep. Good question.
People really like those strange little tractors. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I'd like to recommend the 24-25 elementary student parent handbook. Wes was on that committee, so that has been shared with both the teachers on that committee and or a board member, and that has been run through them. There weren't a lot of changes in the elementary parent handbook, so we'll go ahead and do that separately.
On this,
I was going to we approve the elementary handbook.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I would like to recommend the approval of the 24-25 junior senior high school parent handbook. I think it is important to note an email was sent out to parents on July 2nd, I believe that was. I want to make sure that's correct. Just making them aware of the new cell phone policy, Senate Enrolled Act 185. Wireless communication devices, essentially they prohibit the devices. In the end, really, it just simply said to the school corporations that we need to come up with a policy for that. It has been advised by Mr. McCann, high school staff, and or I support that, to be more restrictive early. We can always loosen up, but to say that we're not going to do anything in response to that, I think is probably in error. The biggest things that we want to make sure that we improve is increase student engagement and cut down on distractions during the instructional time, right? And I want to be very clear that that is not just a student concern, but that is also possibly a teacher concern, and the management of that, and us still trying to navigate what that looks like to be. We have people that use technology really, really well. We have kids that use technology very appropriately, right? So I want to say it's not all evil, but in the end, I don't know that we have struck a balance that is comfortable to say that it's not a distraction. I think we can all probably say it's the same thing for us in life and our world, but in the end we do have the ability to restrict that a little bit more. The biggest change will be now 7 through 12, so elementary is already devices need to be put away. 7 through 12, it will be devices need to be in lockers during class time, right? During instructional time, they will be able to get those in passing periods. They will also be able to utilize those during lunchtime. That does include earbuds. And part of that is just a safety piece of us being able to, and or honestly, I don't know if professionalism is the right way to say that, but just teaching them that engagement with individuals and eye contact and listening to them, undivided attention is really important. And I don't know that we're doing our kids a service right now of saying that that's really, really important when we allow their ears to be plugged with music the entire school day. So they will still have their Google Chromebook devices. They will still be able to interact with their teachers and or people through that. But that's a school-issued device that we have approved and have the proper filters on to say we can guard that a little bit closer. So that is a big change. I know Mr. McCann has had some people reach out about the safety piece. In the end, we don't rely necessarily fully on our kids to be our safeguard, right? So we have safety measures in place that are going to do our absolute best to keep them safe. But posting that on social media and texting their relatives right away aren't necessarily part of our safety measures, right? So we understand that the safety piece and wanting to know where your kid's at is really, really important. But in the end, we feel like that's going to be a great change for student engagement and the distraction piece. So the focus is right there on instruction. So I'd be glad to take any questions on that.
I guess one of my thoughts is, have we talked through the idea or the fact that some of these kids that are diabetic have blood sugar monitors on their phone, etc. And
100%, that's a great question. So the law states that if it is part of a health plan, if it's part of a 504, if it's part of an individual education plan, an IEP, that obviously there are medical measures for that. I mean, they can ask to make a call. There's going to be times when that doesn't necessarily apply, but most of the time it will. So we have phones in every classroom. We have phones in our offices. If that's truly an emergency at that time, we have the availability to make those phone calls. But yes, that's a really good question. That is actually in the law. plan developed under Section 504 for the Act 1973 Individual Education Plan. The policy adopted implemented under subsection may not prohibit a student from using a wireless communication device during instructional time if the use of the wireless communication device is included in the student's IEP.
How about watches that are connected to
Mhm.
cell phones? We gonna monitor that?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be layers, right? There's going to be layers to that. We would say they could possibly still get messages just like I could, right? But in the end, answering those and the availability of distraction and that type of thing, I don't know that we've fully had that conversation. We feel like that's a distraction. We need to have more of a conversation on that.
I see it as a way around. How some
Sure.
kids will
Sure.
circumvent the policy, but.
Sure.
Anyway.
I will tell you, the law states, right? Cellular phone, tablet computer, laptop computer, or gaming devices. So it doesn't necessarily say anything about a watch or something of that nature. So
When I first started.
yeah, so
They'll end up having to address that.
yeah,
And this is a new law for the state of Indiana. I mean, it's been passed by our legislature. There'll be probably revisions coming out in the next legislative session, I'm sure, if there's tons of pushback. So, this is a start.
What are
Yeah.
the discipline measures if they bring their phones to class?
so those are outlined in the
Handbook.
handbook. I want to say the first time is obviously a warning, right? Like we're going to show a little grace, but in the end, you know, your device is going to be taken away. You know, the first time you can get it at the end of the day. I think there's a policy before. The next time you're going to have a parent come get that, and so on and so on.
Yeah. Their discretion.
Yeah.
They may choose not to.
So, the whole kicker is trying to do our absolute best to protect the instructional time that's in the classroom, right? And if we felt like we had really, really good habits, I know Tom and I have had discussions a lot of like we need to teach them how to use that, right? But I also say like I understand that, but there's the instructional piece of we haven't used that really, really well yet. And so we need to carve out that instructional time, just like we did back in the day when we talked about a reading block, right? Of not doing announcements over the intercom all the time for the distraction piece of that. So there's a lot of different philosophies and thoughts. The question I would ask is the cell phone and or those devices become a distraction to our interactions with individuals and or focus on relationships and or the things that are being taught, and I would say the answer to that 90% of the time is yes, right? So if we can avoid that, we're going to do our best to do that under the new law. More to come, I'm sure. Good questions.
All right. We need a motion to accept the 2024-25 senior high school handbook.
I don't know if we approved that handbook.
Parent, student parent.
Student parent,
Different.
yes,
Not the-
yes. Well, no, I guess,
This is student parent.
yes, the student.
But not
parent.
the athlete, not the last.
No, not the last.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I recommend the approval of the 24-25 junior senior high school student parent athletic handbook. So just minor revisions in there. I will tell you that also in the parent handbook, this is something, the expansion of if you're in an extracurricular activity, being open to the drug testing piece and making sure that you're making the grade, right? Similar to if you were an athlete, just making sure that we're holding all kids in all extracurriculars to the same standard versus one group we're not and the other group we are. So student parent athletic handbook, minor changes there, and that would be my recommendation.
I'll move that we approve the athletic handbook.
I'll second that.
The move by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. On to superintendent.
Can I add one more item to that? I want to thank I recommend the acceptance of donation from the alumni, the FFA alumni. They have donated a welder for the ag room at the cost of $2,100. Our policy says anything over $1,000 that's donated, we need to accept both the donation and the liability of that. So I'm going to add that as another item, as that was added after we sent out the original Wednesday packet.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? I will say that the reason why they wanted a new welder is because the kids in FFA are going to welding contests, and our welders are antiquated, and the kids got there and didn't know what all the bells and whistles on the ones did. So.
That's great, thanks to the FFA alumni.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. All right, on to superintendent report.
All right, continuous improvement, just an update on the sound systems. They are all completed in the trench, tack, and tundra. We will be doing under our new bond, September, October-ish, we will be updating the elementary gymnasium one that was, we don't know if it was struck by lightning or what happened, but it was definitely, that's been like 8, 9, 10 years ago when I was elementary principal, but the ability to be able to go in, turn it on versus set up a sound system every time it will be greatly appreciated. So, but the other 3 are done. They sound amazing. Ryan Snoddy was in here last Sunday and just tweaking those and getting them dialed in, and they just sound great. The high school hallways and a couple of classrooms are getting a fresh coat of paint, so those look really good. Vanadco is updating our banners. We have settled on the colors that we feel like look best in the gymnasium, and those are being recovered and are going to reflect our colors and successes. The fence between the football field, I know that was just asked. We think that may be pushed off until fall. We don't have an exact date on that, and it sounds like maybe we are even waiting for a third quote for that. Roof repairs, we did talk a little bit about that at our board retreat, and wanting to get somebody in to do a site inspection or a kind of a list of items that need to be done and maybe what the best way to do that. So we are working on getting that done. Inside door upgrades are complete. Those are nice if you happen to be over at the high school. Those new doors, the entry into the trench look really good. Sidewalk repairs to the high school and drop-off area are more efficient for drop-off procedures. Those are complete. And we had some young men, which I'll talk about later, add some dirt to those and try to finish those off. The large high school parking lot was supposed to be done this week, and due to some equipment issues, Haas Conley had to give us a call, plus we had Breeze Run on Saturday, and we wanted to be good stewards of that. So he will be here. We'll just have to make adjustments as far as blocking off parking lots and stuff like that. But he had a paver or something go down.
Fork went into striper.
A bad day. Yeah, him not being able to be here. So shared leadership. I think it is appropriate that we take this month to wish our 4-H students well. They and their leaders are working hard to prepare for their fair exhibits and all the projects that they do. I will once again welcome and ask anybody that's part of 4-H and or experiences successes, whether that's 4-H or other successes throughout the summer, to please let me know so we can give those rightful kudos. I want to thank our maintenance crew under the direction of Barry Baker for working and cleaning the buildings, waxing the floors, and making the needed repairs for the new year. Thanks to Brian and a few hardworking men, Ben McFarland, Dante Workman, and Wayne Reichert, for helping complete some of the outdoor maintenance. Has to look worse before it looks better. And it's pouring right now. So I looked out here.
We're supposed to get rid of it.
Yeah, it had to look worse before. That was an ADD moment, but I was thinking about the dirt that's on the sidewalk from pulling out those bushes may be cleaned off right now. So we had some unsightly bushes at the back of the elementary school. Those were removed, so we'll be cleaning this up and making it look better with some mulch and some new plant material, but I really appreciate their effort. If you happen to take a look at the school pond, I don't know if that's really what we call it, but they really cleaned up that area as well. So they worked hard for us this summer doing that while our maintenance people are inside. I do want to thank our Triton Transportation under the direction of Laura Baker, Dan Simonis, getting our buses all ready for the new year and being a good community partner by transporting local students to church camp. You guys approved that quite some time ago, but that is happening right now. Social Responsibility Breeze Run was a huge success on Saturday. Touch a Truck event will be taking place on July 27th. The Bourbon Summer Fest will be taking place on August 10th and 11th. Under social responsibility, because it affects us, but it also affects our community. Congratulations to Officer Watkins for completing the DARE school. This is a two-week intense training that prepares officers for so much more than just presenting lessons for our students. Honestly, I thought that was a pretty, I didn't realize how in-depth that training is. It's pretty intense, so I appreciate him taking 2 weeks away from his family to do that. Accountability, I know maybe Candace is going to talk a little bit more about this, but update, we had 84% of our students pass IREAD, so that's good. We're going to continue to increase that. I do, under accountability, also want to congratulate our Hoosier degree recipients, Travis Barnhart, Jazzy Trustee, and Sammy Middall. My understanding is less than 4% of the FFA members earn this Hoosier degree, and this comes with a gold chain and a charm for their jacket, which they proudly display the fact is they got the Hoosier degree. High expectations. Triton graduate Cole Shiva will be participating in the Murat. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. Shrine North-South Football All-Star Classic on Friday, July 12th at Decatur Central High School at 7 p.m. That's a great honor. Tickets can be purchased at the door. Congratulations, I believe, since our last board meeting to Jaden May. He signed to run track at University of St. Francis. Triton sophomore Drew Bingaman made all-state baseball. So one of, I believe, only 6 in our area as a sophomore. That's pretty impressive. So hopefully he continues to progress. JV boys won their division at Super Hoops at IWU on June 23rd. Congratulations to Danica Coons. Since our board meeting, she has signed with Indiana Tech to play tennis. Congratulations to Tess Coop, Bailey Nicely, Chloe Bradley, Brooklyn Roberts received All-American honors at the UCA Cheer Camp that was held on June 20th and 22nd. Triton football team won the small school state 7-on-7 championship at Mooresville on June 15th, which hopes to promise a good football season coming up. And congratulations to Lily Stetzel and Sierra Howell for representing Triton well in this blueberry pageant. And I did check, it is called a pageant. That one is called a pageant, right? So that is all I have for my report. I'm glad to take any questions.
If there's no questions, we'll have patrons' comments if there's anyone here to speak. If not, we will move on to building report. I'm guessing Candace is going to give that.
It's an elementary report. So for summer school, we ended that on June 21st. We just want to give thanks to the 11 staff members who showed up daily to reinforce grade level skills. Students were able to receive targeted instruction for whole and small groups each day. As Mr. Riffle said, for IREAD 3, 76% of our third graders passed the test for the first time back in March. 11 students didn't pass. 6 received those good cause exemptions due to IEPs or ILPs, which is your language plan if they don't speak English first. And they did not need to retake the test. Of the remainder, 6 passed during summer retakes and 4 did not. One fourth grader moving in from a different school in April also retook the test and did not pass. One parent did not make their child available for summer school, so they'll be retesting as a 4th grader. Overall, as Mr. Riffle stated, 84% of our 3rd graders did pass the IREAD 3. Staffing is complete as of today with the approval of Hannah Baker for the 5th grade position and then Allison Fishball for the instructional assistant. Many grades have already started to collaborate together and others will start that soon. And then finally, I'd like to take a moment to publicly thank Mrs. Cook for allowing me to complete my off-level internship under her supervision. Her support, mentorship, and generosity have been instrumental in my professional development. This experience has provided me with invaluable insights and skills that I will carry with me as I continue with my on-level internship in the fall at the high school. Mrs. Cook, your willingness to share your knowledge and expertise has made a significant impact on my journey, and I am deeply, deeply grateful for the opportunity to learn from you and from your unwavering belief in my potential. That's all I have.
Thank you. I had the high school report, just trying to give our administrators time away and continue to refresh. So I asked Mr. McKeon to send this. Doesn't have a lot, but approximately, does have a few items here. Approximately 55 students took summer school courses. Those will actually end on July 21st. So those continue to go on. He's still looking for an instructional aide position for the upcoming year. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely contact him. And I will put that, I'll repost that on our social media pages so we can have that contact information. He also thanks Barry and his crew for the building looking good. If you haven't seen the new paint, it does look really, really nice. Just cleaning up the walls and a nice fresh coat has been applied. Communication has been shared with families concerning the update on cell phone expectations. Like I had mentioned, that was on July 2nd. We will get more information out on that as we continue to let people know kind of what the new expectations are. So that is Mr. McCann's report.
All righty. If there is no other business, we move to adjourn at 7:31.